it's working. Good morning. All praises to the Most High. Today, I got a revelation so sweet. I'm cracking the codes. I ain't been able to write for like 2 months. For some reason, I got shut down, and I understand why. We are already been created and prepared for our destiny. And if you try to jump the gun, or if you try to do things, so sometimes the Holy Spirit has to hold you down and calm you back. But May 1, if this is the correct date, whatever this season is, in this month, the power of this month allows you to be creative in the mind. It's going to open up different realms. You can go to different dimensions now from here. You can clear things and things will become more tangible and visible. You can connect to the source in this month. So we'll talk about that, but one of the reasons why we're not understanding how the essence of life is because the way life was presented to us was from a control factor, from a system put together. So when I was thinking about shapes, they got octagon, the pentagon. These different shapes are the way that they can curve our minds to perceive what they're trying to show you. So in the middle of the day, like right now, you can see it's clear out here. But because the way our brain's been programmed to see shapes, then it's stuff right in our face that we can't see. But the people in control can see that because they programmed another kind of way. And it's that's why 1% can control the masses. Nobody never thought about that. Where did they get the money from? Or where did they get the power? What is the secrets that they hold over us that makes us become sheep? They took the Bible. First of all, they killed every witness at that time, or the ones who didn't get killed. The righteous ones done went and hid somewhere in Middle-earth. And they took the book and they held it for over 4,000 years until they reformed it to where they could play God and control all humans. We need to understand this now because it's so important. They gave us an idea on what the world looked like. It's round. Some say it's, you see what I'm saying? That's been programmed in your head. This realm here is the only realm that we know of that we can look like this from the dust of the earth. The only way off this planet is through a spiritual, through a transitional, where the light, that spark of energy that's put in you, that chi, can go through the vault. Because we block from the top and the bottom. And the only access way is through spiritual realm, through a non-physical being. So who's holding the keys? Who's stopping us? And when you go back to the book of Genesis, and he said that Adam and Eve ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and their eyes were open. So what was they seeing then before? Were they walking around with their eyes closed? Or did they become a lesser being from this particular knowledge? It forced them to be trapped because there's like 9 realms. And we were supposed to be able to travel through these realms. All of those angels and different hosts of watchmen that they call planets are put in place, and each one of them are in their own realm. And we were able to connect with all of them realms and stay into that power. But when they ate and their eyes were open, that means that they transformed into something that would trap them, and now we have a cycle of death. Now this body has an expiration, and you have to live it through until you can go to the next level. Nowadays, it's done got worse because somebody is controlling the whole narrative. When you think about it, the community, the nation, our parents, they escaped from the matrix in the 70s. Ran over to Israel before Israel was upgraded into the matrix system too. Israel was still working on their platform. America had already launched theirs of world domination through electronic and cyber intelligence. So during the whole process of slavery, all of our DNA been going to, they've been collecting. So now they know how to genetically recreate you where they can control and dominate your physical self. I gotta stop right now, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. And that's what we're gonna talk about. Let me finish getting this work in. You know, most people call it workout, I'm working in. Which means that, because the strength has to come from the inside to make the physical outside look good. I keep trying to tell you that we are inside of ourselves, and the representation that we have right now in our body ain't us like that. You are not in control yet. You think you are. You got a platform. They say that God gave us free will and free choice. But why the tree don't have free will? But the tree feeds us. Because the tree is in a cycle that when he got the command to produce, he never deferred from it. The animals, when they got their command, they stayed with the program. Where did we get to the point that we are not in tune and in cycle by nature with the way we're supposed to be? It's a lot we've been lied to, because even when you think about how we came over to Israel in the 70s, and most of you all wasn't even born. This is how I know that the generation that was put back in Akva and the generation that was placed into the hands of the you-know-whats were reinserted back into the matrix. You remember one sister used to keep everybody's passports. That's because we were being profiled. They gave the Mossad and the American government, first of all, the first thing they do, he had to number Israel again. They had to make a list of everybody that was down there. And then that list was put into a database. And then the database allowed them to monitor and follow each and every one of us, maybe by family or by this. So they already had begun to now start putting different medicals. They used to fly over us and drop chemtrails. This is why we catching different diseases. I remember we used to look in the sky. Oh, look at that airplane. It's making circles and lines. Mainly over the Kefar and over Dimona. There's so much to this. And if, like me, you want to get your life back, then you have to return to Eden. You have to return to a conscious level where it's not nothing physical that has power over you. You got to eat different. Why you think that is two major food companies in the world and everybody else is under them? Cisco, and I ain't trying to get the exact details, but my point is, why do you think it was so important for them to control the food, control the water, control the air? Because now they can keep your spirit trapped within you and then feed you with the knowledge that they want to give you. We got to free ourselves, and the only way to free ourselves is to know thyself. And knowing thyself don't come on, it's not on social media. It's not in a book. You can get some guidance, you can get some direction. It's almost like a stop sign or something. That ain't how you get there, but it sure can put you in a direction, an arrow. Let us be wise in this season, because in a minute, humans won't naturally be made anyway. They're showing us in the movies. They've been cloning. But see, they give us the movie and make you think that the cloning is somebody getting grown in a jar. No, they're cloning you while you're walking around. While you in conception, they giving you the foods and the things and the thoughts and the airwaves and the energy to create the child that they want. These guys ain't just popped up and had all this talent. They know what they doing now. So when you think about Revelation 13th chapter, it talks about this beast. We are at that time. The main thing they got you to do is say, that Bible was written by some men and this and this and this and this. Say for instance, I come, steal your house, take control of your family, start getting your wives or put my seed inside of your women, kill the men until you kill enough where you have produced a seed that's going to be so docile, that's going to not have no knowledge of self and who he is. This is what they did. They colonized Africa 100 years. That's all they needed, was 100 years of murdering every single witness to alter the genetic structure that had us stay connected directly to the cycles of the land and to the cycles of Yah. Once they did that, they said, we sorry, our bad. Y'all can have it back. Under these conditions, you're going to have to go. Y'all don't know nothing about government. They didn't force their government on us. But see, after 3-4 generations, them kids they was growing up trying to be like white people. They were growing up trying to be like Europeans. Then they take them and say that you can only be in government if you're educated from a European system. So everybody go to Europe and get 3 and 4 degrees and then come back here and say they're ruling African people. No, they come back Europeans. What are they eating while they're in Europe, in college or in America? Who's their doctor? Why they over there? So they think they themselves, but now they are controlled self. Very few can escape that. It's a reason why they're destroying the planet. We got to study Bereshit again, because when you really go in depth of Tohu Vavohu, you will begin to see chaos, confusion, darkness, lack of understanding, a crashed, failed system, a programmed mind. So when we came to the kingdom, my parents, we was born there as a group of 70 babies up to 1980, were born completely matrix free. That's because we was wearing our own clothes, we was eating our own food. I don't remember ever eating nothing out the store. And Israel hadn't launched what I call the Death Star, which is that satellite electronic control system. They were still working on theirs. So they hadn't messed up the food all the way yet. They were still running Israel based on biblical reality. The rabbis were actually using the laws and commandments of the Torah to run Israel. So they hadn't lost their power yet. So that means they wasn't allowing them to bring certain chemicals over and fertilizer. Wasn't no McDonald's. They was blocking all of that stuff. They was blocking even Wrigley bubblegum. So they were creating and we was creating. We was growing our own food, or we was going out to where the Arabs was in Hebron and we was buying our own food. So we was being fed another kind of way, which it allowed Ben Ami and whoever else had something to do with the beginning stages to insert another kind of genetic code in our mind. It allowed us to think outside the box because of the food that we ate and because he took us out and switched the pattern. He switched the pattern as a paradigm shift. Just a few of us now. So when they saw that, they knew that, okay, there's a generation born that could still alter and change this. But what our parents didn't know is when they came over here and they were enlightened, Christianity, that ideology, and all the other slave things, even Judaism, hid within the light that they was enlightened. We are the Hebrews, we the true people. So when they got here, they didn't understand that they were using the same tools of religion that had enslaved us. They still had that mindset. So their version of God still came from the book of the slave master who had altered it. Because when you think about it, they were trying to practice the exact same thing that Christianity, slavery practiced on them. They didn't know no better. They weren't even conscious of it. So that's why they could never understand us. And they thought that the only way that we would be able to reach Yah is through them. And Yah had already allowed them one blessing: to reproduce yourself free of a slave mentality. But what did they try to do? Force and impose the slave mentality on us by making us become slaves to them. That's the effect of post-slavery. And that's why it ended up collapsing, coming under siege. We'll talk a little bit more about this later.